Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this talk on sacred ecology, lessons from the Bhavishya Purana, organized by Indic Academy. Sustainable ecology is an integral concept in Sanatana culture, and nature and ecology have always been a sacred aspect of our lives and find resonance in so many of our Vedic mantras. Our speaker this evening is Srinivas Jammalamadaka Garu, who studied Nyaya and Tarka Shastra under Sri Ambadipodi Radhe Shama Shastri Garu. Advaita Vedanta under Sri R. Mani Dravid Shastrigal, and Vyakarna under Sri Ganti Dattatreya Murti Garu. He has been conferred awards such as the Tarkaratnam and Vidwan Mani by Sri Kanchi Shankaracharya and Shastra Kalanidhi by the Madhya Pradesh government. Sri Srinivas Jammalamadaka Garu is currently Assistant Professor, School of Shastric Learning at Kavikula Guru Kalidas Sanskrit University at Ramtek. Over to you, Srinivas Garu.
Thank you, Aparnaji. So, first of all, I would like to thank Harikiranji for giving me this opportunity to share my views and my findings, research findings regarding ecology. I will start with the Mangalacharana. Shuklam Varadharam Vishnum Shashavarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva-vidhnopashantaye Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I hope it is visible.
Yes, Santi, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, I wish to explore the concepts and some elements from Bhavishya Purana regarding ecology. So, before going to the concept directly, I wish to give a short introduction about what Puranas are and what do they actually deal with. So there is a definition of Purana that is present in Bhavishya Purana itself in the first, in the opening verses only, that Sargascha Pratisargascha Vamsho Manvantaranicha Vamshanu Charitancheti Puranam Panchalakshanam. So what is a Purana? So Purana has 5 elements in it, predominantly, primarily. That is Sarga, Pratisarga, Vamsha, Manvantara and Vamshanu Charitam. So what is Sarga? Sarga means primary creation. Pratisarga means secondary creation. So we have something called as a Srishti, Punasrishti, Pralaya and Mahapralaya. So this is a chain that goes on. So there will be Pratisrishti for every, it is not essentially that for every one, what you call kalpa, but we have essentially a concept called Pratisarga, that is the secondary creation, that is the whole destruction doesn't happen, and Sarga, which is a primary creation, that is the first, we cannot call it as a first creation, but a creation in a larger scale and creation in a smaller scale. So we may classify them in 2 ways. So each and every Purana starts with normally with the description of how this creation has happened, and then we have details about the Vamshas, that is the Surya Vamsha, Chandra Vamsha, Agni Vamsha. So these are the Vamshas or lineages whose duty is to actually take care of the creation. So we have details about them, who have had the power over maintaining the creation. And then Manvantaram, we have 14 Manus. So we have all their charitam or all their history in that. and even Vamshanucharitam, that is the lineage of the kings that rule this earth. So that it is moreover like a chronology of the dynasties. So this actually definition proves that Puranas are not maybe which have been called as mythology and etc., because they are not myth according to the Shastras. They are one of the they are considered to be the substitutes for Shruti. So wherever you don't find any pramana in the Shruti or in the Vedas, direct in the Vedas, we then go for the Smritis and then Puranas and Itihasas. So all the Vedangas, Purana, Itihasa, Smriti all have the same stature of Vedas or Shruti in the Shastra Parampara. So in that way, Puranas actually help us in understanding the history of our creation and the history of the kings. So it is moreover like a chronology, and at the same time we do have many other things detailedly dealt in Puranas, which will help us in understanding the complex nature of this cosmos. So how many Puranas are there? So normally we have 18 Mahapuranas that are primarily considered to be, and there are other Upapuranas also. So in this shloka we have all the 18 Puranas were in order to easily memorize them. So this shloka was written: Madvayam Bhadvayam Chaiva Bharatrayam Vachatushtayam Anapalinga Kuskani Puranani Prachakshate. So there are two Puranas which start with the syllable Ma. There are two Puranas which start with the syllable Bha. There are three Puranas which start with the syllable Bra. And there are four Puranas which start with the syllable Va. And then we have A, Na, Pa, Lim, Ga, Ku and Ska. So there are Puranas which start with these syllables also. So what are they? So Madvayam, Matsya Puranam and Markandeya Puranam, they start with the syllable Ma. And Bhavishya Puranam and Bhagavata Puranam, they start with the syllable Bha. Bharatrayam, that is Brahma Puranam, Brahmanda Puranam, Brahma Vaivarta Puranam, they start with the syllable Bra. Vachatushtayam, Vamana Puranam, Varaha Puranam, Vishnu Puranam and Vayu Puranam, they start with the syllable Va. And A means Agni Puranam, Na means Narada Puranam, Pa means Padma Puranam, Lim means Linga Puranam, Ga means Garuda Puranam, Pu means Purma Puranam, and Ska means Skanda Puranam. So in this way, the 18 Puranas have been merged into one shloka in order to easily memorize. So these are the 18 main Puranas, and amongst them is the Bhavishya Puranam, the main topic of based upon which I'm trying to explain something. So an overview of Bhavishya Purana. So Bhavishya Purana is divided into 4 parvas: Brahma Parva, Madhyama Parva, Pratisarga Parva and Uttara Parva. So Brahma Parva has 216 adhyayas. Madhyama Parva has 3 bhagas. In the first bhaga we have 21 adhyayas. In the second bhaga we have 20 adhyayas. And in the third bhaga we have 20 adhyayas. And the topic which I am trying to explain does belong to this third bhaga of the Madhyama Parva. In the 20 adhyayas, I have selected only some topics to explain. And there is Pratisarga Parva, which is again in 4 khandas, and there is an Uttara Parva which has 208 adhyayas. So this is just an overview of Bhavishya Purana, how what is the extent of the literature. And today whatever I am dealing, it has all the pramanas are taken, or all the source is being based upon this third bhaga of the Madhyama Parva of Bhavishya Purana. So before going into the topic, we need to understand how creation is being perceived, or if we actually see the literature related to creation in the Puranas or in the Vedas, we can understand what was the perception towards ecology or towards nature from the Sanatana perspective. So that is why I thought I will bring in some 1 or 2 quotes from the one from Bhavishya Purana and another from Veda, so that we can understand how it is being perceived, how ecology or how the nature is being perceived. So first we can see the Bhavishya Purana. In Bhavishya Purana, in the first, that is in the Brahma Parva itself, in the first adhyaya or the second adhyaya, we find this these shlokas. In the second adhyaya, we find these shlokas. Prathamam kathyate sargo bhutanam iha sarvashah yat shrutva papa nirmukto yati shanti manuttamam. So first, the bhutanam sargaha means the creation, the grand creation is being described after, yat shrutva papa nirmuktaha. So what is the phalam or the reward of listening to how the creation has happened? So they say, it is said that you will achieve some, or you will get some punyam out of it by listening to it. So Jagadasit Puratata Tamo Bhutatma Lakshanam Avigneyam Atarkyancha Prasuptam Iva Sarvashaha. So before the creation, it was all darkness. Tamo Bhuta Bhutam Alakshanam. It was full of darkness, and it was not being able, we are not being able to find any sign of anything. Alakshanam. We are not able to find anything. Avigneyam, it is very hard to find anything. It is very hard to know what actually was the state. And it was like as if everyone was sleeping. Prasuptam iva sarvashaha. In all the aspects, it was sleeping. So there was no kind of any movement or anything. It was black. It was dark in color. It is full of darkness. Tatassa Bhagavanisho hi avyaktao vyanjayan nidam. So then the Ishvara or the Parabrahma, he did a sankalpa that I need to create something, and then he created first the Mahabhutani, or the Panchabhutas, the primary bhutas, that is the Prithvi, Up, Teja, Vayu and Akasha. All these 5 bhutas that he created first. And then from there, all the other things were created. So even in the Vedanta Shastra, we find this Srishti Prakriya, wherein it is said that first the Sukshma Bhutas were created. Sukshma Bhutas are those bhutas or those primary elements which cannot be perceived by our sensory organs. So normally now we can actually perceive Mahabhutas by our sensory organs. So these are not pure in form. What are we able to perceive through our sensory organs are called as there is something called as Panchi-karana Prakriya, in which 50% of that particular element would be there. If it is a Prithvi, then there will be 50% of it, and then other 50% will be divided into 4, and in all those 4 sections we have all the other 4 bhutas. So in this way, when Panchi-karanam happens to each and every element, then those elements can be perceived by our sensory organs, and all the other srishti or all the other creation happened after creation of these Panchabhutas. So this creation of Panchabhutas is called as Bhuta Srishti, and the other creation based on these Panchabhutas are called as Bhautika Srishti. So and then the Purusha or the Jiva is being created in the last. So that also we can see in the Taittiriya Upanishad also. Tasmadva etasmad atmana akasha sambhutaha akashad vayuhu vayo ragnihi agne rapaha adbhyah prithvi prithivya oshadhayah oshadhibhyonnam annat purushaha. So first the Parabrahma has created Akasha, that is space, and from Akasha it is Vayu or air, and from Vayu it is Agni, and from Agni it is Apaha or water, and from Apaha or from water the Prithvi, and then all the Oshadhi and Vanaspati, that means all the greenery, all the other plants and etc. were created, and Annat Purusha, and then Annam was created, that is the food or whatever, the Sasyam and etc. And from there the Purusha has been created. So why I brought in all these sources is because what is the perception towards nature is that humans are part of the nature, and they are not something different from a nature. That means they are not just the consumers of the nature. They are also part of the nature. And so as the viewpoint is that you are one entity among the whole the ecology. So the way we see nature, the way we try to engage with nature is something like you are engaging with your brother or sister. It's not like something like the nature is for you and you are there to only reap the fruits of the nature and you want to just shun away after that. So that is why we don't think more about what if this earth ceases to exist, or if it is not able to produce anything, what should we do? Should we go to the next should we find another planet where we can live, or etc. So these kind of thought process are not we cannot see that kind of thought process or thinking methodologies or frame these thoughts in our culture. And similar perception towards nature is also found in many other native communities, like in the Native Americans also. They believed that life emerged from the interior of the earth and that the earth resembled the womb of a mother in which she nurtured life. So even the Native Americans, they also felt that it is Prithvi Mata. So they perceived even the earth to be their mother, and once a person is being after his death, is being buried, so that the mother again takes back her child to itself, and then again some other person will again emerge from it. So it is not only for us that in the Bharatavarsha that we perceive nature as mother, but even in other native civilizations also we do find this. So in this relation, I found the shloka of which describes about Prithvi Devata in Bhavishya Purana, so that it is actually personification of earth. Shuddha Kanchana Varnabham Varabhayakaram Shubham Mandukasthancha Dvibhujam Sarvalankara Sundarin. So this is the description given to Prithvi Devi. So she's in the Shuddha Kanchana Varnabha. She's in golden in color, and she's having a Varadahasta and Abhayahasta. There are two hands for her, and she's sitting on a frog, Mandukastha. She's sitting on a frog, and she's being decorated by all kind of ornaments. So in this way we can find Prithvi Devata described. So it is moreover like a personification, as we have each and every element of the nature is perceived to be a Devata. So in the next this thing, I'll be even covering how and what are all the deities that we actually invoke while creating some water bodies or pond and etc. So everywhere we actually personify them. It is not only personification, but it is more like revering them to be devatas. So devatas are considered to be a superior clan than the Manushya Yoni, that which we are humans. So devatas are a superior yoni. They belong to a superior yoni. So it's not only personification, but you're even considering them to be greater than you. So this is the perception of Sanatanis towards ecology. In the same way, as I even quoted a Native Americans, and there is another this thing called as Sionan people. That means some states of the US are called as Sionian states. So even that native culture there also, they also believe that the whole of creation was essentially one, and that all parts within the whole were related. So it is interrelated. So everything. So if we have this kind of a perception, whatever we do, whatever we want to reap the benefits from the nature, we see to it that they are sustainable and we do not harm the nature, and we don't only kind of think about just taking away the good and leaving the bad. So we try to even think that even that is also part of us, and we shall not seek to destroy it, and some or the other ways that we wish to only take the benefits out of it. So what are the topics that are dealt in Bhavishya Purana related to ecology? Maybe I've just made a bifurcation. Maybe we can classify them like this. So there are concepts associated with establishment of gardens. There are concepts related to water bodies, how to establish water bodies. There are concepts related to plantation of specific plants. So there are some medicinal herbs, some are definitely do have medicinal qualities, and they are revered to be related to some or the other kind of a devata, like bilva, the plant bilva. It is considered to be Shankara himself residing in bilva. So the installation or plantation of that particular bilva vriksha, it has elaborated rituals to it. It is not just like you are just digging up a hole and then just putting it inside. So it's not like that. It has a very detailed this thing to it, which I'll be covering. And there is one very unique concept related to allotment of ground for cattle nourishment. So which is called as Gopracharabhumi, wherein the land is given away to the nourishment of the cattle, specifically cows. So the concepts associated with establishment of gardens are Aramadi Pratishtha, Kshudrarama Pratishtha, Pushparama Pratishtha. So the word Arama actually means Aramyate Atra iti Aramaha. That means a place wherein you recreate. That means a place wherein you come and actually sit there and have good time, so that you can recharge yourself. So that is a place called as Arama. Maybe we can take it as considered to be as a garden. So there are many kinds of Aramas, which is a Kshudrarama means which is a small garden. Pushparama means a garden which is oriented towards wherein many plants will be there, which are specific, which have very specific flowers to it, which have unique flowers, which actually have unique flowers to it. So in this way, there are different kinds of Arama Pratishtha. So it is not just that you find a piece of land and you just plant here and there whatever you want, but at times there are by going through the procedures, we can understand that it is not just preparing or putting upon a garden, but it's moreover like it's a very sacred thing to do. You sacralize everything. Whatever you do, you have a very you see it with a very it to be a punya-karya, it to be a very divine thing to do to establish a garden. So that has a process to it, and you invoke a particular devata so that the nourishment of that garden happens, and even it is the place is there for you to recreate. So you need to get off all your negativities and maybe find some positivities to it, recharge yourself, your mind, body, and everything. So a holistic well-being place is being built. So it is a very sacred place that is being built. So it is not just a thing, but it is considered to be a great ritual, and even you have some punyam to it also. So if you're doing a Kshudra Rama Pratishtha or an Arama Pratishtha, you do get benefit out of it, that you do get punyam out of it. And then concepts related to water bodies are Pushkarini Pratishtha, Jalashaya Pratishtha, Nalini, Vapi, Hradadi Pratishtha. So Pushkarini, Jalashaya, Vapi, Hrada, so these are all different kinds of water bodies. Pushkarini is essentially a water body which is consecrated in the premises or the surroundings of a temple, wherein the deities will be actually having some or the other utsavas in that particular Pushkarini. And Jalashaya is a water body wherein it's moreover like a bigger pond. And Vapi is a smaller pond. Hrada is also a similar kind of a pond kind of a structure. So, some could be called as reservoirs, some are ponds. And then we have concepts related to plantation of specific plants, that is Ashwatha Pratishtha, Vatavriksha Pratishtha, Bilva Vriksha Pratishtha. So coming to Vatavriksha Pratishtha, there is a specific place. You cannot plant Vatavrikshas in between, in the middle of a city or a village. So Vatavrakshas are normally, the pratishtha of Vatavrakshas are done in the outskirts of a place, of the village or of the cities. Bilva Vriksha Pratishtha, again, it is a very sacred thing to do. So, and another this thing that this Bilva Vriksha Pratishtha has been described only in Bhavishya Purana, and you do not find any other places where we can find Bilva Vriksha Pratishtha. So this is very unique to Bhavishya Purana. And then we have this Gopracharabhumi-sthapana Pratishtha. That means allotment of ground for the nourishment of the cattle. So what are the commonalities on all these procedures is that in the beginning you invoke devatas in a kalasha or on a leaf or with a flower or in the flower. So the first thing you do is you invoke the devatas, and then you perform homa, and then you do the pratishtha. So it is not like you are just digging up a hole and just putting the sapling over there. So you have a very detailed procedure that is there. So by all this, you can understand why should we do karmanushtana. So it is a ritual for you. So at times for papa prayaschitta. So if we take this Gopracharabhumi, sarva papa apanuttaye. So this is what is the reward that is being told in the Bhavishya Purana. That is, whatever the papas that you have done in your previous or in the present janmas, if you want to get do some prayaschitta for them. So this Gopracharabhumi, Goprachara Utsarga Pratishtha is one of the ways to do prayaschitta. So that is actually a ritual to itself. So it is a ritual. So while you do a ritual, so there are many layers of rituals. I mean, for one ritual, it has many facets to it. That the bhautika facade, that is the peripherally what happens is it actually nourishes the ecology by planting some specific plants, and by creating water bodies in that particular place, and even by consecrating something called as a agni-griha, where you can perform homas and etc. So all these things, they actually nourish the ecology, that is the ecosystem that is prevalent in that particular place. So this is the bhautika aspect of the karma. If you a bit go into the inner side, it even has a kamya aspect to it. So if you want to have punya more, so even these all things give you punya. So it has a kamya aspect to it. If you're not interested in the output or the phalam that has been or the reward that has been attested to it by the shastras, then you can do the ritual without associating yourself to the phala or the reward. So that will actually give you, then this ritual will become something which is similar to a nitya karma. So what does the nitya karma give you? It gives you something called as chitta shuddhi. So this chitta shuddhi is very much essential in order to achieve the parama purushartha or the primary purushartha, that is moksha. So in this way, establishing these kind of what you call gardens or Gopracharabhumi or etc. These do not only help in the bhautika sphere, but they even help the person who is actually establishing all these them in order to achieve the primary purushartha, which is moksha, by that particular individual. So I'll be dealing with this Aramadi Pratishtha in the first division. So Aramadi Pratishtha is a 2-day ritual. It is not 1 day. It is a 2-day ritual. So what do you do is that in the first day, you do the Devata Avahana or Ahvana. So all the Navagrahas, Brahman, Parabrahma, Ananta, Varuna and Vishwakshena are invoked in kalashas. Then Vasudeva is invoked on the lotus, pericap of the lotus. And then Kamala Devi, Sankarshana, Vimala, Soma, Chandra, Indra, Jayanta, Akshaya, Agnishwara, Tatpurusha, Vayu and Mahadeva on the betel. So this is a very, if you see, it is moreover like a miniature of the cosmos. So normally we do have this concept called Mandapa Radhana in whenever we do Satyanarayana Puja or any Vratam or any Puja, you have a concept called Mandaparadhana, wherein there will be one kalasha in the middle, where you invoke the main deity of that particular Vratam or that particular Aradhana, and all the other deities which are common, like Ashtadikpalakas, the Navagrahas, and the Palakas, and all those Devatas. So if we see, actually we are actually creating a mini universe in that particular mandala. So in the same way, here also, if we see, there are different kinds of devatas who are being invoked in the first this thing, and then for all these devatas who have been invoked, for them homa is performed with particular different havidravyas like ghee and boiled rice, and at times it would be what we call puffed rice and etc. And then we install a Upastambha in the place where the Arama is being established. So what is a Upastambha? So in the Mimamsa Shastra, this concept of Upastambha is dealt. So Upastambha is actually a piece of wood in the structure of a pillar made of a tree, specific tree called Khadira Vriksha. Khadira Vriksha. So that is why you use this Khadiro Yupo Bhavati. So this Yupa Vriksha, Yupa Stambha is normally installed while doing yajnas. So by seeing that, you have to install a Yupa Stambha in the Arama Pratishtha as a procedure of Arama Pratishtha, we understand that this is also very much similar to yajna. So it is not a small thing to establish Arama. So it is very much near to this concept of yajna. And you install dhwajas or flags around the place. That means you are actually defining the boundary of that particular arama or the garden. And you perform Karnavedha Samskara to the trees. This is very unique concept. Normally Karnavedha Samskara is performed to humans, but here we see that you have to perform Karnavedha Samskara to trees also, or the plants or saplings that we actually install there. So we find the shloka there. Kodat iti pathitva cha vrikshanam karnavedhanam suchya sutikshnaya karyam dvipatre vamadakshine. So how do you perform a karnavedha samskara to a tree? That is, you take a needle which is very sharp, and you recite this word Kodat, Kaha Adat, who gave. The meaning of Kodat is who gave. So you pronounce that Kodat, and then you pierce two holes into the right and left leaves that are there. So this is a Karnaveda Samskara to the trees, and then you distribute children to the sweets to the children in order to please the Navagrahas. And then you fasten a thread which is soaked in turmeric paste to the trees, so that this can be interpreted in many ways, that giving them a strong hold in the root and etc. And even this is also said that if someone, after establishing this arama, what happens is all the saplings grow into big trees. Then what happens if someone actually climbs a tree and then falls down, and if he gets hurt or if he dies? So will that be a dosha to the person who has consecrated this arama? So this could be a question. So then we have this clarification there. Vrikshagrat patitasyapi arohat patitasya cha maraneva asti bhangeva karta papair nalipyate. So if a person in this arama, if he falls down from the top of the tree, or while climbing the tree, if he dies, maraneva asti bhangeva, if his bone gets fractured, the karta, that is the person who has actually developed this arama, will not get any papam because of getting hurt, this person getting hurt, or this person getting died. So there is also a small clarification given there. And on the second day, we do archana to Prithvi Devata. and Vishwakarma. So the Prithvi Devata's description was the shloka previously which I have told. So an idol, or possibly if the person can actually afford preparing an idol of Prithvi Devata as the given according to the given description, that is a devata or a female goddess sitting on the frog with the two hands, one with Abhaya and one with Varada Mudra, then he can actually create or develop an idol in Swarna or in gold, silver, and whatever his economic status would be, depending upon that, and do archana to that Prithvi Devata and Vishwakarma, and at the same time Homa also, and then create a pond in the Arama and install another Upastambha and archana to the. So Upastambha is considered to be a devata in itself. So Upastambha is normally used to invoke devatas into Upastambha. It has other purposes also, but the main purpose of Upastambha would be invoking devatas, and they do reside in that Upastambha and take care of that particular place. So make that place sacred. So this is the concept behind Upastambha. And then plant 2 banana saplings on both sides of the Arama, that is in the entrance kind of a thing, and give Dakshina to the Acharya. So this is so normally developing a garden, we don't find all these things. These all things don't get into our this thing normally idea that how an Arama can be done in this way also. That is, it is purely ritualistic. But this ritual is very beautiful and making it a sacred place. And then there is this Pushkarini Pratishtha, that is the water body, Pushkarini. So you dig a square, a rectangle, or a square or a rectangle tank, fill it with the water. So it is essentially a pond. So it's a man-made water body. And we prepare a mandalam or a place for puja, for the archana on the northern bank of the Pushkarini, and then place an idol of Varuna made out of silver, and then perform archana to that Varuna Devata, as Varuna Devata is the presiding deity of the water. And then submerge the idol of Varuna Devata into the Pushkarini, saying that I am dedicating this Pushkarini to Varuna Deva, who is an avatar of Sri Mahavishnu, and by dedicating this Pushkarini to Varuna, I may achieve punyam that is equivalent to punyam earned by performing agnishtoma. So agnishtoma is a great ritual. So you get the same reward of performing agnishtoma by setting up a Pushkarini. So mama agnishtoma dhyaneka phala praptaye imam jalashayam varuna daivatam supujitam chaturmukha sahitam chatussattvavachanna snapanad yupabhogaya amukasa gotraha. That means belonging to a person belonging to this gotra by this name, I give away this pond or this Pushkarini to Varuna Devata. And then chant Varuna Suktam. And again submerge another idol made of Varuna Devata, made out of sandalwood in that particular Pushkarini. And then install a Naga Yashti. So this Naga Yashti is again a different kind of a structure made out of wood, like a pillar, wherein Naga Devata would be there. And this actually in a corner of the Pushkarini. And this actually would be a symbol of Naga Devata and will also be helpful in determining the level of that particular Pushkarini, the water level of this particular Pushkarini. So this is normally done in the dams and reservoirs nowadays. So in those days, we did have a mechanism wherein this Naga Yashti would be of 2 purposes. That will be representing the Devata, Naga Devata, and at the same time, it will also be helpful in understanding the depth of the water. And then again, you release fish, tortoise, makara, and shaivala. Shaivala is this what you call this green, which we call it as pachi in Telugu. So which tortoise actually eat, in fish and tortoise actually eat. So you are again actually creating an ecosystem in that particular water body also by releasing all these things. And then we have Bilva Vriksha Pratishtha. So this Bilva Vriksha Pratishtha is also of 2 these things. So this is again a 2-day ritual. So in the first day you perform Jaladhivasa. Jaladhivasa means actually keeping that sapling, submerging its roots in the water. So that is Jaladhivasa. So normally this Adhivasa, this word Adhivasa is used while consecrating Devatas, Devata Murtis. That is in the temples, while you do the Prana Pratishtha of the Devata, Vigraha Pratishtha of the Devata, this Adhivasas are being done. You will have first Jaladhivasa, then you will have Kshiradhivasa, then you will have Dhanyadhivasa, then you will have Pushpadhivasa, and then the Devata Murti or the idol of the Devata will be consecrated in the Garbhagriha of the temple. So the same concept is now being used even in while planting a bilva vriksha. So that is, this is being considered to be the form of Shiva, Lord Shiva. So the Jaladhivasa will be done in the first day. Archana to the sapling and Archana to Rudra, Kubera and Durga. So all three devatas Archana will be performed. And then you dig a particular pit, I mean in a pit where you wish to actually install this sapling, and you prepare a lotus with Gairika Churna. Gairika Churna is actually red chalk, which we find in the mountainous regions. So that is one kind of a manure also. So you prepare a lotus with the Gairika Churna, then put this bilva sapling into that particular pit, fasten it with 5, 7 or 9, that is odd number of threads, and then perform archana to all these devatas, and then homa to the same devatas. So you perform archana and homa to the same devatas in all the devatas which are invoked at that particular point of time, and then again perform karanaveda samskara to even this bilva vriksha, and then give arghya to Savitri Devata. So this is and even another thing, that after doing the first day ritual, the person who is actually doing this bilva vriksha pratishtha has to sleep near that place where he is actually going to install this sapling, plant this sapling. So he has to sleep there on that particular this thing. That I actually missed that point. And the last one is Gopracharabhumi-sthapana pratishtha. So this is the a land wherein which is allotted to the nourishment of the cattle. So Gopracharabhumi, so what are the rules for this Gopracharabhumi is that it should not be in the south or southeast or the Agneya direction of a village or a city. So it can be in the east, west or anywhere, but not in the south or the southeast direction of the village. So you have to select a land which is which that particular person owns, and you have to do archana followed by homa to Vishnu, Lakshmi, Brahma, Rudra and Karali devatas. Install again a yupa stambha with a nagaphana. Nagaphana means serpent hood. So something like a naga yashti that is said to be installed in the Pushkarini pratishtha. Similar thing has to be also done here. Then dedicate this particular yupa to Vishvedeva, Nagadhipati, Achyuta and Bhauma devatas, and perform archana to that yupa. As I said, yupa is actually a place wherein devatas reside, and they actually sacralize the whole area that is being consecrated or that is being given away. And again, you have to plant trees in the eastern border, create a setu bandha. Setu bandha is a natural reservoir, or create a in the southern border, so that all the water which is due to rains come and accumulate in that particular corner, and it becomes a natural reservoir, a water body. So that has to be set up in the southern border, and you have to dig a well in the northern border. And interestingly, you have to build a agni-graham. That is a place where you can worship Agni Devata or perform homas or yajnas in the western border of this particular place. So if you see, this place is being dedicated to the social welfare. So it is for the community's welfare that this place is being given away. So wherein yagas can be performed, wherein the cattle can actually nourish themselves, I mean have their food, water is being given there, shade is also being created. So in a way wherein naturally all the the cattle can actually get nourished over here. And you have to give away this by saying, I dedicate this land to the cows. So you have to utter this and say that I am giving away to this cow. And interestingly, this Gopracharabhumi, this cannot be even the person who actually owns that land before giving away it cannot again claim his ownership upon that, and he cannot, and no one, not only that person, but even anyone can reap any kind of economical or financial benefit out of that particular place. So no one has the authority to plow the Gopracharabhumi. No one can reap any financial benefits. And if someone actually does that, tries to claim or reap any benefit out of that land, he will be subject to Brahmahatya Pataka. So the Brahmahatya Pataka is a Mahapapa. So this actually reminds us to the basic, the core story of concept of the movie Kantara, which was very much popular, which was a blockbuster hit, wherein the king actually gives away a particular piece of land to the tribes. And his clans, his great-grand son or someone, he tries to again claim his own land again, and when the devatas get aggravated due to that. So this is something, I don't say that this is the same thing, but it's something we can actually connect with. And what is the reward for setting up a Gopracharabhumi is Sarva Papa Apanutti and Swargaloka. So that is also said, Yavanti Tarugulmani Bhumau Santi Shubhanicha Tavat Varsha Sahasrani Swargaloke Mahiyate. So in that particular place, the number of Taru and Gulma, that means that how many number of trees are there in that particular Gopracharabhumi, the person who has given away that particular bhumi will stay in Swarga in that thousands of years. If there are 2 trees, then he'll say stay for 2000 years and etc. So this is a kind of reward that the Purana is actually stating for a person who gives away this Gopracharabhumi. So in this way, these all things actually give us a very clear idea about what the Sanatana perception towards ecosystem was, towards environment was. It was not that environment is different, nature is different, it was made only for me so that I can reap all the benefits out of it. No, it is not that. It is moreover like, even I am part of the whole nature, the whole Srishti Prakriya, and I am also one Jiva. So as the other Pashu Pakshi or the any other kinds of Jivas are there, Pashu, Pakshi, Taru, Gulma, these all are considered to be kind of Jivas who took birth on this particular Manushya Loka in order to go through this prarabdha to get what you call essentially in order to achieve the rewards of the prarabdha, that we all take birth in this particular loka. So each and everyone has same amount of responsibility in this particular loka. So that is the perception of Sanatana Dharma. So in this way, so this is just a creation that I have done. An illustration of how a Goprachara Utsarga Bhumi can be. That is, in the east there are trees, in the north there is a well, in the south there is a reservoir or a natural reservoir, and in the west there is a Agni-griha. So in this way, this is just this thing that I made based upon the description given in the Purana. So this is the multifaceted nature of the rituals that I have even said, Bhautika, Kamya and Nitya. So you have different kinds of layers to the same ritual. So it depends upon the karta or the person who is actually performing that ritual and his set of mind. Whether if he's only truly materialistic, then he can only see the Bhautika layer of it. And if he's truly even materialistic in nature, he can only see the Kamya layer of it. But if he's not a true materialistic, but he is philosophical and he can understand the adhyatma vidyas and etc., then he can see the nitya part, nitya facade of the same ritual. So it is only the same ritual, but it has multiple layers to it depending upon how we can actually envisage it. So I wish to just complete this presentation by reciting this mantra from Manju Sukta. Shanta Prithvi Shivamantariksham Jaurno Devyabhayanno Astu Shivadisha Pradisha Uddisho Na Apo Vishwatah Paripantu Sarvatah Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the Prithvi, may the Prithvi or the earth be Shanta, Shivam Antariksham, the Antariksha or the space, may it be Shivam, that is Bhadram, that is they may not have any unnecessary, unintended or unnecessary things, and may all the natural elements may fulfill our needs, and all there may not be any calamities in the nature. So this is the whole concept of this particular mantra. And I thank once again Indic Academy for giving this opportunity, and I wish to say yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi, yadatra asaushthavam kinchit tan mamaiva name guroh. So if there is any virtue in this presentation, that belongs to only Guru, and only due to Guru Krupa that I was able to explain. And if there is any shortcomings, that only belong to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Srinivas Garu, for this very engaging talk, and you've covered all aspects of ecology in the Bhavishya Purana. I would now request any viewers, if you have any questions, to please post them in the chat. I don't see anything as yet. Koti Garu, do you know?
Yeah, there are two questions, Aparna Garu.
Where do I
open and Q?
Yeah, Namaskaram. In my house garden, I have bilva tree, Sita, Ashoka and Avala, all the Pavitra trees at least 8 to 10 years old. Because of their growth and closeness to my house structure, I have taken down some tree branches every few years. Is it papam to do so? If so, can I do a nullify the effects of it? Sir, one thing I can say that our Shastras are not like very harsh or crude in nature. So it is moreover like, as much as possible, don't unnecessarily cutting down trees or have to be done. But if needed, then you can do, and that is not considered to be a papam in general. And the next this thing is the best trees to plant as per Shastra with more of value punya. I did not understand Rajeshwari Patil ji's, whether it is a comment or a question. Difficult in So actually, how does preserving, there is Bhanumurthy ji has asked a question that how does preserving of nature, which is very difficult in urban environment, helps in reducing the papam and reducing the prarabdha? Is it just to create a fear? No, it is not just to create a fear. It is, if you see the there is a concept called Kshudrarama or Upavana. The word Upavana is also used. So Upavana is something very much near to the Miyawaki forest concept that is very much prevalent these days. So wherein you create a very dense green patch in a very small piece of land. So that can be done in urban areas. You see, it is not to create any fear of papam. It is moreover like how can you sustain the ecology, the ecosystem itself is the main purpose behind it. And with this also, in addition, I will even like to even share another concept called sarpakavu, which is very much prevalent in Kerala. So in Kerala, there is this concept called sarpakavu, wherein in particular houses of Nambudris, the backside of their houses are dedicated to Sarpa Devatas. So there you have a very deep well, and even a Pushkarini kind of a structure, and it is a dense forest kind of a patch, a land. So wherein no one is allowed to go in there, only married women of that particular household, they go there and every day do puja to Vasuki, that is the king of the serpents. So this actually what happens is, all the rainwater that happens, that will be collected, that will go down to that deep wells, and the groundwater will be recharged. So this is happening there, and recent study has shown that some people have started destroying these sarpakavus, and the groundwater has been deteriorating since then. So this is another environmental ecological concept from the olden days. How can one collaborate and yours promoting sacred organization? So Mittalji has asked a question about my, in order to collaborate, I can share my what you call my mail ID, so that if anyone has anything to ask, they may actually mail me, so that I can do my bit. So Kotiji, if you can just share my mail ID.
I will share it.
The best trees to plant in to gain punya. So there is Ashwatha Vriksha, Bilva Vriksha. There are many other these things also, trees which we can plant for the sake of punya. But if we do it with this particular rituals, then it will be more authentic in nature. My question is, can I practice some of the rituals for enhance some spiritual values in my small? Definitely you can practice rituals that can definitely be done. And as I said, the 20th adhyaya of the third bhaga of the Bhavishya Purana deals all with all these things. And if possible, we may even come up with a manual kind of thing and of how to perform all these rituals. Yeah, people tree in front of the house is considered inauspicious. As I said, some trees are said to be kept out of the village, out of the house, and etc. Coming to this people tree thing, definitely what your understanding is right, but at present I cannot actually give you any shastric reference of regarding that. Okay, Vemuri ji has asked something which wish to check with multi-directional urban expansion. Can we control or regulate not to venture into the south and southeast direction? Actually, these kind of subjects are dealt in the Vastu Shastra and Nagara Nirmana Paddhati extensively in works like Samarangana Sutradhara and Mayamatam, where town development, town management, and how to develop a town and etc. are dealt. And I'm not I have gone through some of them, but not totally, as due to which I cannot give a very detailed explanation regarding that question. I think Mittalji and Bhanumurti ji are raising their hands. Kotiji, can we?
Yeah, you want me to allow them to speak?
I mean, if they have anything, they can. If not,
yeah,
fine.
1 minute, we can. Yeah, Ashankji, you can ask your question.
Namaskar, Srinivas ji. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So, first of all, many thanks for a very insightful discussions. I thoroughly loved the rich perspectives, the deep insights you have. It speaks of the profound study you have done. My question was coming more from a perspective of being an entrepreneur who wants to encourage real estates with dharmic environmental values.
Yeah.
So you just now mentioned something on urban management, and I have been very specifically looking on what are the dharmic practices recommended by our Shastra on planning urban, rural, agriculture, forest, any kind of a land space in a eco-friendly manner.
Yeah.
So what you anyways covered a lot of dimensions to it, but very specifically for the urban development or city.
Yeah, while in the urban development, it is not only about how to expand, but even strategical expansion was also dealt in these works, which I've said actually. So that even the security of the particular town or city was also considered. So they have actually said that which kind of sect of people should live in which direction of a particular city. So where the administrator should live, where the king should live, and etc. And where the king's quarters have to be built, where the army quarters or the security quarters have to be built, where the merchant should be there, where the weavers should be there. So in this way, there has been a very detailed description of it. I'm not an authority on those works, but I have gone through those works a bit.
So my question was more about within urban development, was there any emphasis on creating green spaces? See, the question is also relevant given that in Mahabharata we have a clear episode of a major destruction of a vast forest land to create a city.
Yes.
So hence there could always be.
Yeah, actually now whatever I've actually dealt, Arama Pratishtha, Upavana Pratishtha, Kshudrarama Pratishtha, Pushparama Pratishtha. So these all are actually these don't need vast lands. They are set up in a very short, very small land, small pieces of land. So the idea behind is it definitely they should be places where you can recreate yourself. Not only that, but those places do have a sacred purpose to them. So in that way, these all concepts are actually very much urban friendly if we can apply them.
Fair enough. Maybe I'll connect with you one-on-one later to understand more of these. Thanks.
Yeah. There is Bhanamurti ji, I think, who is raising up hand.
Yes. Bhanamurti,
can you listen to me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. See, thank you so much, Swamiji, for your excellent presentation. Each and every aspect of it is something to do on the belief of a devotee.
You see,
something
belief,
to do with something to do with the nature.
So that is why I have actually given this multifaceted nature of these rituals. If you believe in the concept of papam and punyam, you come in the realm of the kamya aspect of the particular ritual. If you are not a believer of papam and punyam, then you can you are in a more higher this thing, that this will become a ritual which will actually give you chitta shuddhi or peace of mind.
Okay.
And all the devatas that have been said to be invoked, they represent one or the other element of nature.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Janani Narayananji.
Hello. Can you
Namaste.
hear me?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I heard something about your Janma Nakshatra and trees. So is this like, can we plant them at home, or it's only for praying, or what is the idea?
It depends upon the kind of Shanti or prayaschitta that you wish to do. Some are like, depending upon your Janma Nakshatra, you have to plant. There will be specifications given. At times that is said to be planted in the premises of a a temple, or at times it will be in the home. So it depends upon the kind of prayaschitta that you are performing.
You can't just like that, simply like that, plant planting.
It is not, yeah, I mean, that is why we need to know the purpose of it. Every time it is not like, you cannot wear any gem, in your hands. You need to know what is the Shastra's perspective to it, and then do it.
And one more question, is there any like a shloka that we can recite for the general health of the plants or whatever we have in our very small garden at home?
Actually, the mantra which I have actually recited in the last is such kind of a mantra. And there are many other Shanti mantras which actually give this, yeah.
Okay, so the last one which you, by thanking, just before thanking, you put one.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Shivangi ji.
Shivangi, you please unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, Namaskar, Swamiji.
Yeah, namaste.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. I had a question regarding this, that we have the Janma Nakshatras connected with 27 kinds of herbs.
Yeah.
So is it that the consuming of these herbs also helps us become more stronger towards our strengths and strengthen our weaknesses as well? Like, for example, we have, tell me please.
Yeah, I understand. We need to, before doing all these things, we should not do it on a self-prescription basis. Because these all things, if you have to consume any herb, you need to definitely refer to Ayurveda, you need to refer to Dharma Shastras, and you need to refer to the Puranas if at all you have any proof over there. So without examining or considering all these facts, I think it is not wiser enough to do it by ourselves. Just stating that this has a relation to this particular nakshatra.
Sure. And another thing, Swamiji, these days people are talking about burning different kind of herbs and petals and flower petals and herbs inside your home for metaphysical reasons. So is that also helpful as well? And does it have a scientific reference in our scriptures as well?
There are particular kind of practices which are centered towards particular rewards. I mean, if you want something to happen, which is very materialistic, it is very materialistic. Okay. Then particular aushadhis or particular herbs are told. They are told to, you have to tie this in, put it in a earthen pot, and then put it in this pipe, wrap it with black cloth and put it. So these are all these are certain ways where which have very limited scope. I say these are all called as tantrika prayogas, which definitely do have references in the Shastras. But I don't see them to be having without having a pramana or a scriptural reference. Anything and everything they should not be performed.
Okay, so Swamiji, if we keep the materialistic side aside, and suppose somebody wants to enter the spiritual realm in terms of adhyatmic practices also, so then herb is going to be helpful there as well if we don't consider the materialistic or small desire kind of thing. Yeah.
Definitely, if it is prescribed by the Shastra, definitely. There are certain practices which are prescribed in the other acharas, and it is even different from sampradaya to sampradaya, guru to guru. So it has many permutations and combinations to it.
Okay, Swamiji, if you may give me the time, if I may ask the last question from my side.
Yeah.
Okay, Swamiji, we have this specific petal or specific leaf that is offered to a specific deity or a devta. Like Bel for Bhagwan Shiva, we have Tulsi for Shaligram or Bhagwan Vishnu, but we don't offer Tulsi to Bhagwan Shiva. Right? So there are many.
No, it is not like in particularly for Tulasi. I suppose there is only one thing, that you should not offer it to Ganesha.
Oh, okay. Because in the central part of India, they say Tulsi shouldn't be offered to Bhagwan Shiva as well.
Okay. That's what, these are all interpretations, and some people in the south, they consider Shiva and Vishnu to be the same. So it can be given. So it's all like kind of many ways. In many things, what happens is the scriptural reference will get lost, and other things come into force, and those are also pramanas according to the shastras. If you're having a lineage, or your forefathers have a particular practice in your particular vamsha or in your particular clan, so then that can be considered to be pramana or authority.
Okay, so Swamiji, a few texts or scriptures wherein I can find some roadmap to some guidance about these herbs and worshipping deities, etc.
This is one thing, Bhavishya Purana, wherein I, just have stated this is all available online, but yeah, there is some Hindi translation also available for Bhavishya Purana.
Okay.
You can go through them, and I think that will help you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Swamiji. My pranam to you.
So, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Can I ask you a couple of questions?
Yes, sure.
One is my curiosity about the Ekambareshwar shrine. It has this Sthala Vriksham, which is the mango.
Yeah.
And it is believed that the 4 branches represent the 4 Vedas, and each fruit tastes.
Yeah, tastes different. And yeah.
So how does one explain, explain that phenomenon?
I mean, why is that happening over there?
Yeah. And, it is for a fact, the Archakars claim that the fruit tastes different. How is it biologically, and environmentally or ecologically possible?
If you see it from the Shastric perspective, anything can happen. Nothing is impossible according to the Shastras. Because if you see, even if you take the DNA mutation, there is one book called The Biology of Belief, I suppose, so wherein they actually say that the mutations of DNA happen due to the atmosphere that is prevalent around the cell. So even the modern science also is not able to expect or is not able to predict when and how and in which kind of a mutation can happen to any kind of a DNA. That now we have seen in the corona also. But if you see that from the perspective of the Shastras, it is very natural, because each and every jiva or living being, they come with their own prarabdha. That means a set of papa punyas. So because of that prarabdha, even the output or the result of it will actually differ from person to person. So in the same way, mangoes that have different tastes depending upon the kind of the type of the seed that it belongs to is common, which we call it as sadharana. But there can be unique things that may happen, which is something kind of a DNA mutation. You cannot say or you cannot go into the particular details of materialistic details of why and how. Like if you even take the Jwalamukhi that is there in the Himachal. So from 14 places you get this fire 24/7 from thousands of years. How do you get it? No one knows. But that happens. So that is why we believe in anything can happen. Because it is just because even this creation, even I had to actually cover that part also. How does this creation happen? Does it happen due to why? Because the Ishvara was thinking that he has to create? No. Why did he get this idea of creation? Is because of our prarabdha. So in the Shastras, they say that srijyamana prani koti karma vashat. So based upon the papa punyas of the jivas, that he even gets this idea of creation. And even the creation happens naturally. He is just a person who is actually being witness of that creation. He is not creating actually. It is being created based upon our papa punyas. So, speaking from the Shastras, maybe from the Shastric perspective, it is not essential that you can find everything materialistically or something in the drishta sphere. So we have two things, drishta and adrishta. So drishta is something that you can perceive through your sensory organs. There are many other things which you cannot perceive through your sensory organs. So that is where the Shastras, the Vedas and all these things come in, due to which anything can happen. So it is not, there is no such thing called as miracle in Shastras. We don't believe in miracles because we have this fundamental understanding that akasmat nakinchit bhavati. Without any cause, nothing will happen. So if something is happening, then there should be a cause. And if that cause cannot be perceived by your sensory organs, then we understand, we take that this is because of something, and something due to an unseen or unperceivable phenomena.
What is the significance of the 4 directions and the connection to the Vedas specifically? Is, are the Vedas, each Veda connected to a particular direction?
Not, I don't think in that way. I don't, I'm actually, I don't have any particular reference to it, but it is just moreover like while you are actually describing something, if you attest them to some or the other things, you can actually easily understand. Saying that they belong to 4 directions, is there anything else left over? So nothing is left over. So it is more of like a symbolically telling that everything is covered in the Vedas.
And one more, with relation to, you talk about rituals. This is the external, physical rituals. But in yoga and dhyana and meditation, we talk about the chakras and the Muladhara chakra representing the earth element. Then we have the fire element. So is there any mention of that internal installation of these earth elements within our body in this particular Purana?
You are made of all these Panchabhutas, right? There is no need to install them again. You are. So your external body is Panchabhutika. It has all the 5 elements. The only chakras representing each and every element is, if you see, it is taking you from the sthula to sukshma. Prithvi is the sthula dravya and Akasha is the sukshma dravya. So it is gradually taking you from the sthula to the sukshma. And by achieving governance upon each and every chakra, you achieve governance upon that particular bhuta. That means anything related to Prithvi will actually react with your thought itself. You think of something, it will be there in your hand. So that is the significance of those chakras and etc.
If there are no more questions, you can just give some concluding remarks and then
concluding. I think I've concluded. I mean, whatever I wish to, say, I have actually shared my own findings, I would say. So I think I once again thank Indic Academy for giving this opportunity. And
thank
by
you.
saying that, I wish to, conclude.
Thank you so much on behalf of all of us for this wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Namaste.